Being said, let's get a move on with our headlines for this morning, and beginning with that the highly awaited future retail Reliance deal seems to be going down tomorrow. The Future Enterprises Board will be meeting, and it seems that it's going to be an all-cash deal, which will see Reliance taking on Future Group's debt as well. So really interesting transaction. Both those counters in focus, the retail space in focus. A keen one to look out for this morning, Cheryl.
Absolutely, Varun. Apart from that, you have HDFC Bank, you have IndusInd Bank, as well as Kotak. FTSE won't include these banks in its indices. The reason slated is that they fail to meet the minimum foreign headroom requirement. So that on back of that particular news, you have HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, as well as Kotak Mahindra Bank that will be in focus.
Right, definitely in focus, not for the best of reasons, but nonetheless, they seem to be holding up pretty okay this morning. Coming back to the deal space and M&A activity, a deal has been sealed, and PAG is to buy a majority stake in Edelweiss Wealth Unit. We had Rashesh, Shah on the channel this morning talking about the transaction, talking about how it's not about control, but really about delivering shareholder value, and that's got the Edelweiss Group in focus as well this morning. Some big upgrades coming in for the larger tech companies, and it seems that the dollar index might have something to do with the way those earnings are projected. But coming back to the dollar and the USA, strategy shift. Last night we had the Jackson Hole address where the Fed Chair Jerome Powell announced a massive shift to average inflation targeting, which basically means they're going to allow inflation to be above 2% before they decide to hike interest rates. So typically this would have warranted an interest rate hike. But for now, the USA is not going to do that. They're going to try and do the best they can to keep the stimulus flowing and support the equity and asset markets.
You have Chris Wood, who's come out with a note, who is saying that he sees room for oil to rise relative to the gold. He's saying it's an interesting point about oil, that is the demand has fallen much less than predicted. He's saying recovery in demand has actually gained momentum ever since that drop. So that is what the Chris Wood is saying. He's saying, nevertheless, will not recommend selling gold due to the strength of the long-term, due to the long-term story. So that is the word coming in from Chris Wood.